Hey everybody, Jason Creel, and you're watching A Lawn Care Life. If you follow me on YouTube, we know we moved into this house not too long ago, and today we're redoing the landscaping on the front yard. This is something I've been wanting to do, and we're hoping to paint the brick on the house, paint it white, and I think with this fresh new landscaping, it's really gonna stand out and make a big difference on the curb appeal. So let me show you the project. We're gonna go through this thing and show you how I'm laying out my landscape design. Then we'll plant the plants and then finish it off probably with some mulch. So let's get started. One thing you'll find out when you do landscaping is plants are expensive. So what I like to do, especially if you're on a budget, you try to find things when they go on sale or find plants that you can work with. And I know this doesn't look like an impressive assortment of plants, especially since some of them are laying on the ground, but I feel pretty good about the plants that I've gotten and the price that I've gotten them for. Now here's one thing that happened great the other day. I went into one of the big box stores and it's springtime and we had a little late frost hit us. I say late, it was in March, but they had all the knockout roses in the store, and look what they did. Lowe's sides, I don't know if you can see that price tag, but as I'm there, he marks them down to $3 each. And if you look at that rose, there's really nothing wrong with it. It got the leaves got a little brown from the frost, but they brought them out there for $3. I knew they wouldn't last, and so I bought 18 of them because I needed to fill up a decent sized space here. And so ideally, you know, when you're on a budget, I wouldn't necessarily put 18 roses in here, but I think a large grouping of pink roses when that house is white is going to really look good. And I may not use all 18 of them in the design, we'll see. But I do want to have a large grouping of roses to really give it a lot of color. And one thing I did when I was just talking about my landscape design, I did a YouTube video and got some really great feedback and some of the comments from people that have more experience doing landscape design, and they gave me some great tips. One of the tips given by a guy named Scott, he was talking about just make sure you understand, and this is a common mistake people make, but understand the mature size of your plants. Oftentimes people plant them too close together, and then when they grow to maturity, it's way overcrowded. Same thing as far as putting it away from the house. You don't want your plants too close to the house. So I'm okay if these roses grow together a little bit and kind of make a real bunch of color. I still don't want them overly crowded, and I can prune these back and probably will at least once a year. A couple other things before I set the plants in place. You can see my design here. What I've done is taken a hose, a flexible hose, and kind of arranged it in my design. I didn't want just a straight across, perfectly straight lines. I wanted it to kind of flow and be rounded and to come out to a point. And I thought about putting a tree out here, maybe a Japanese maple, crepe myrtle, something like that. Ended up going with just an arborvitae. I really wanted to do something different, but ended up just going with this because I couldn't think of anything better for that price. This was a 3-gallon one. I got the best 3-gallon one I could find. It was 20 bucks. So I think that'll be a great featured plant right here. In a year or two, it's going to be continuing to grow, get taller, and be a nice corner piece in this landscape, probably surrounded by the knockout roses. Over on this side, it's going to continue along. This is the north side of the house. You can see where there's moss growing, not much grass. I'm going to probably put some azaleas over here just to give it something. I've got a few loropetalums I'm going to work in. I like those. I like just having something different besides green and flowery, even though these do have some bright pink flowers. These have the purple leaves, really help set off the landscape. And I bought several of these. This is just fountain grass. Now you may be picturing some of the pampas grass that gets huge. This is a fountain grass, and it doesn't get nearly as big. I think it's like 3 or 4 foot tall and 3 or 4 foot wide. What I like about having grasses in the landscape is even in the winter time when they go dormant, they still have the shape and you know, just give it some texture and give some structure to your landscape. So I really want to incorporate some of the grasses. The other plants we're working with today, I bought a rosemary plant that I'm going to probably put over here. You see I've got this one other little small section in the landscape that I'm wanting to redo. And there's another grass. I think I bought 5 of those fountain grasses. And then I bought a couple of the sunshine ligustrums. Now these are 10 bucks a piece for a little small one. The idea here is you're landscaping on a budget. You may have to buy a 1 gallon instead of a 3 gallon if you're on a budget, but you can fertilize and over time they will grow to mature size. It just may take you a little bit longer to get there. Once I'm done with the landscape, I want to leave probably a place around the corner of the house here where I can accent it with some seasonal flowers, and I may need to clear that area off. Put some seasonal flowers, clear that off, and then I might also incorporate maybe some lantana or something like that to give it some color in the front of the bed. If you're a professional landscaper, you may look at this and say, oh, he's doing it all wrong. Well, I'd love to have your feedback as I arrange these plants. Let me hear from you in the comments at the end. If you think that the plants are arranged wrong or there's some ideas you could give me, then that would be great. But this is intended to be sort of a do-it-yourself project. So I don't have a mini skid steer or anything like that. I'm using a rake and a shovel. So, you know, if the dirt's not perfectly level or everything's not looking just pristine, that might be why. But I feel good about it, and I think once I get those plants in the ground and finish it off with some mulch, I really think it's going to look great. I will say, before we started this project, there were some gigantic azaleas in here, so big that we were unable to pull them out with a truck and a chain. We had to get a mini excavator to actually dig them out. So, and they were planted way too close to the house. So I want to make sure not to plant the shrubs too close to the house. Let's get started with the project. Got the plants in place and kind of showing you a more distant view here, this side and this side. I may end up moving some stuff around, but this is sort of my initial design, and y'all can let me hear from you in the comments. Now it's rose heavy because I got 18 roses. I didn't actually use all of them, and I'm trying to decide, you know, if this is what I want to go with or not. But you see, I've got the arborvitae. I actually dug a hole for it, so it's sitting down a little lower. But got a picture of that thing probably going to get as tall as the house, and with the house being white, painted the brick white, new shutters, and then with all these roses blooming, then this is kind of what I'm thinking of. But I may adjust these roses, not use quite as many, and maybe incorporate something else here on this left side as opposed to those last 3 roses. So you got the arborvitae surrounded by the roses, then got the fountain grass. Those are going to get 3 or 4 foot tall. I really like those. And then I've got some loropetalums. You know, they don't look too great right now. These need some water and need to get in the ground. And then some more roses over here, and I'll probably accent it with some color in the front, maybe some lantana, something like that. Probably put that pot, those 2 flower pots up on the front porch. And then on this side, yeah, again, here we could put some seasonal flowers in this corner, maybe some lantana, something like that. I've got lavender right here, got a couple of sunshine ligustrums, and a fountain grass that's going to soften that edge a little bit. At least that's my theory. So this is my original design. I'm gonna get ready to put these in the ground. I may change some stuff around when you see it for the finished product, but this is sort of what I'm going for right now. Let me give you a distant view. All looks tiny right now, but it's gonna grow up and be a lot bigger, and I think once it gets to mature size, even in a year or so, it's going to look significantly different and a lot better. And the mulch, you know, finishing off with some dark mulch is going to really make a difference. Let's get started digging some holes, putting these in the ground. All right, I want to give you an update on the landscaping. I've been digging some holes and putting the plants in the ground. You see the design has changed a little bit, but I'm overall fairly happy with it. I'm still planning to get some azaleas probably down that side over here, but you can see I've used a bunch of knockout roses, not as many as were in the original design, with the arborvitae there on the corner. Come over here, I moved these sunshine ligustrums to this spot, and I've got the loropetalums spaced out, as you can see them on the back row. I put the big rock in the middle with the fountain grass surrounding it, 4 clumps of fountain grass with a loropetalum on each side, the purple ones. All that stuff's going to grow up a lot taller and healthier looking. And then that bird bath's just there for the time being. I might look for some kind of taller plant to go back there, and then a couple more knockout roses over here. On this side, probably going to move that pot, but I put the rosemary plant in the ground here, and one more of the fountain grass over here. I'm going to get probably a couple small shrubs to go up front, maybe a I don't know, maybe some more of those ligustrums, the yellow ones. I'll just look and see. But just need a couple small things there. I guess I could use that for seasonal flowers, but I'd rather just have something more permanent. Probably gonna put a splash. But other than that, I think when it grows up and becomes more mature, it's gonna look nice. I've got to finish this off with some mulch. I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna put some landscaping fabric down or not. Overall, this was a very inexpensive design. I mean, just on those roses was probably $50 because I got them for $3 a piece. The arborvitae was $20. Those Lore pedalums, if you go buy those at full price, like a 3-gallon one's probably like $16 or something. Fountain grasses were $6 a piece, I think. $6 for the rosemary, and there's another fountain grass. So, you know, this was maybe a $200 design. Now that doesn't count mulch, and if you do a border, that's gonna cost some more money. I'm still trying to figure out if I'm gonna do a border or not, or just once I get the grass nice and thick, I can maintain it with a string trimmer. All right, so I need to put some mulch and get this thing finished off, and I'll show you the finished result. Let me stand back and give you a distant view. There's the view from the distance. Again, I think it'll look a lot better when the brick, this is just outdated color on the brick, so if we paint the brick, I think it's gonna look a lot better. So it's a couple days after setting the plants, and we had a good rain, so that was helpful. Still hadn't put anything right here, but today I'm gonna get some mulch and put in the bed. So you can see here, this landscape fabric, I've got mixed opinions on it. I mean, it does help to some degree. I didn't cut it in to fit in between all the plants. I just put a strip across the back here where it was open, and it'll help keep the weeds out. If you ever want to go back and plant something, it makes it difficult. And so anyway, that's just what I did. You can use the fabric if you want to. I put it around the side too. You can see here what I did. I'm just gonna put it there and probably put a row of azaleas right in front of that fabric, and then put mulch in there. So I hadn't planted those yet, but you can see, you know, I've got the plants set, and we got them watered in. Now I'm gonna put the mulch in here, and then I'll show you what it looks like when I'm finished. I'm still undecided on the border, what I'm gonna do with that yet. So I'm basically finished with the landscaping job. I want to show you the finished product. All I've done today was put down the landscaping fabric along the back of the beds, and then I went and got the mulch and installed the mulch. I was just using 5-gallon buckets and a metal rake to do that with, and then I took a blower and kind of cleaned it up. And anyway, I'm happy with how it turned out. It's gotta, you know, you gotta have a little vision. I want to see the stuff when it's mature several months or maybe even next year, but I think it'll look a lot better later this year. And when I put some color accents in there, some other flowers and things to kind of set off, and then also when the grass starts filling in and turning green, I think it's going to look a lot different. But I'm really happy with how it turned out overall, and certainly much better than the overgrown azaleas that were there that we had to dig out with a mini excavator. So all right, let's check out the almost finished project. Let me stand back and get you a distance view here. You can see, you know, here on the, see over there by the sidewalk in front of the porch, there's a small section. I've still got to get a couple plants in there, and then the primary area over here. And then we'll get a closer look and give you one more shot at kind of the plants I chose. Like I said, I'm not a landscape designer. I just observe what other people do and get advice. And you know, I may have to make some changes to this. Perhaps I use too many roses, I don't know. It'll be nice and colorful when they're blooming, but I kind of am happy, and I can envision that arborvitae there in the middle being a lot bigger. So we got the roses with the arborvitae on this side here. I still, you know, I just put the mulch there. I've got to get the azaleas to put on that side. Got the Lore pedalum there in front of the hose, another one over here on the other side. I decided to get a big rock. This was one we had on the property, about the biggest one I could pick up. Got these yellow bushes, the sunshine ligustrums is what those are called. Those will get about 3 or 4 foot tall. These fountain grasses get about 3 foot tall. and a couple more rows over here. I'll probably put something a little taller back there where that bird bath is. I just sort of put that there for the time being. Those lorpellums will get much fuller and nicer. They was struggling at the moment because they've been in the pot too long. And then over here, got a little statue boy. I don't know if he'll stay there or not. A rosemary plant and another fountain grass. And I may go with some of those sunshine ligustrums in here. I just hadn't decided yet. Maybe some seasonal flowers right here. The other roses I had, I moved over here close to where the creek is. So you can see I had a couple of double knockout roses. I put those on the end, and then the other roses that are knockout roses, I don't know if you call them single knockout roses. I think just regular knockout roses, I put here. And I've got a little Japanese maple plant. It's just starting to, you know, it's going to take a while. It's kind of skinny and young right now. It's just putting out leaves. And this year, but you know, I think in a few years that tree's going to get bigger and nicer, and these roses could be pretty. And if we get this cleared off here and sort of overlooking the creek that is right behind, get this cleared out, could look nice. That wraps up this front yard landscape makeover video. Thanks for watching. I'm Jason Creel. If you haven't done so, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Talk to you later. Bye.